Did you ever notice that every single time Ramadan comes, it comes in the most exact time of the year in which you most need it? I notice every time, like physically, spiritually, every time I want, like for example, you know how I eat a lot during the year? I'm like, bro, I just want to take a break from all this food that I'm eating. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, Ramadan is so close. And every single time where I'm just like, oh, like I'm so done with the world spiritually, all of a sudden, I'm like, Ramadan is almost here. What if I told you Ramadan is the best way so you can have anything that you desire to come into reality fast? That's the thing, man. Fasting is one of the. It's so funny because even the word fasting, before when I first came to Canada, I'm like, how do I say that? Ana sa'im. How do I say I am sa'im? And then people told me it's like you just say fasting. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about I'm fast. I just want to like, you know what I mean? When I was young, I didn't know English, right? And when I realized that the word fasting is siyam, I'm like, that's so weird. But then it hit me. I'm like, dang, because when you fast, that's when things come fast to you. Like, what are the chances? But here's the thing. I'm going to show you in this video how, inshallah, to get the most out of this Ramadan. Inshallah. So if you haven't been getting the most of this Ramadan, we're halfway through, a bit more than halfway through. So hopefully, at least in the last 10 nights, you'll be able to make the most of it. In just these last 10 nights, at least. So here's what you are supposed to be doing. When you're fasting, I'm pretty sure you know, obviously, no food, no water, no sex, right? You also heard the fasting of the eyes, the fasting of the ears, fasting of the nose. Not much so, the fasting of the nose. I can't really think of much haram things to do with the nose, unless you smell the other gender. But basically, fasting of the ears and fasting of the eyes. Have you really been fasting with your ears and fasting with your eyes? If I go on your phone right now, would I see that the most app you've been spending is TikTok or Twitter or Instagram? Twitter is fine because maybe you're doing crypto and you need Twitter for that. But is it like, have you been spending a lot of time on Instagram and TikTok? And have you been mostly consuming rather than producing? Because if you are, I can guarantee that you have not been fasting from the eyes, or you've been fasting from the ear. There's a bunch of songs on TikTok, a bunch of haram on TikTok and Instagram. So have you truly been fasting from that? And if you haven't been finding the benefit in this Ramadan so far, and if you've been struggling to see all the desires that you want to come into reality, it's because you haven't been fasting from the eyes and from the ears. Now, fasting from the food and from the water is very easy. Ramadan is very easy. But if you can't get the other one in check, you won't really find much benefit in Ramadan. And so why is it that we say that when you fast in Ramadan, or when you go through fasting, your manifestation comes a lot easier? It's because understand this, right? Understand this. Your manifestation or your desires or your du'as or whatever you want to call it, they're going to come a lot faster when you know how to direct your attention. Because wherever you put your attention, you're creating reality. So now if you're constantly putting your attention into things that cause lack in your life or things that are lacking, you'll see more lack in your life. But now the reason why I'm saying when you fast from the eyes and from the ears, the more you fast from it, the more that you'll be able to easily direct your attention into places that you want, as opposed to things that you don't want. How many of you, when you watch porn, you notice it becomes really hard to just direct your attention into the things that you want? And that's what they want from you, man. They want you to, whoever they are, they want you to have such a hard time in directing your attention to the point that they want to come and direct your attention into the places that they want you to have your attention on. And that's why most people are living in realities that are just lacking, in realities that are just weak, in realities of just filled with low testosterone, filled with low happiness, filled with just low everything. It's so sad, man. And all of it comes back to attention. Where are you putting your attention? So if you haven't realized, Ramadan is trying to take your attention from things that are bad, from things that take away your power, into things that are good. And what is that? That's what taqwa is, habibi. That's literally what taqwa is. So funny, I just realized, you know how like sometimes you can just find out the meaning of the word by finding out, like fasting is fast, makes your realities come fast. But taqwa comes from quwwah, which is power, which is strength, which is so funny. Which means, habibi, the more taqwa you have, the more strength you will have. The more strength you will have in your life. And so taqwa, all that it means, all that it implies is that you've taken this power of attention and you've placed it only on Allah. Imagine you go through a whole day and all of your attention has just been on God, and that's it. The entire time it's just been on God. What kind of a different reality you're gonna start having? Beautiful reality. Why? Because Allah is the most beautiful. Allah is the strongest. Allah is the most independent, the most anything beautiful you can think of. That's what Allah is. That's what this God is. Otherwise, you wouldn't see a beautiful world. And for those of you that say, oh, but the world is not really actually that beautiful. If you go outside right now, as like I'm looking at the world outside of me right now, and it's so beautiful, honestly. Just from the look that you're like the trees, the wind, the sky, the birds, the snow, everything, all of it is just so beautiful. When you look at it as it is. Not when you look at it as what you think it is. Oh, the world is bad. There's so much war going on and stuff. Even in the midst of war, you can still find beauty, which is beautiful. Just thinking about that. So here's the thing: in Ramadan, in these last 14 nights, 13 nights, fast with your eyes, fast with your ears. And if you're noticing that, oh man, but it's becoming so boring, Habibi, those non-Muslims nowadays, there's a bunch of videos that talk about how to do dopamine fasting. Dopamine, what is it? Dopamine dopamine reset, whatever it is, I forgot the word. They know the power that when you reset your dopamine, the more you reset your dopamine, the more that even success becomes so attractive and so easy, to the point that you wouldn't want to do anything else other than just sit down and just do work, other than sit down and just be productive. That's what dopamine reset is. Dopamine fasting. And then here we are. We have the step-by-step guideline in the book, in the Quran, and we're just like, there's a black cat. And we're just like, oh man, this is too hard. Oh, I can't not use my phone. I have to use TikTok. I gotta be sleeping all day. Because you're so tired of fasting. Come on, man. Come on, man. You see, the non-Muslims are doing the stuff that you're supposed to be doing, and they're noticing the benefit in it. They're finding success more in their life because of it. And here you are, you have all the stuff in your book, and you still don't do it. Come on, man. But here's the thing, once again, fasting of the eyes. Stop looking at everything, bro. Fasting of the ears. Stop listening to everything. And if you can also, if you can just sit down and read a bunch of Quran, that is also going to be resetting your dopamine, because reading in of itself is such a beautiful reset that is going to bring on your mind. And on top of that, just your mind. If you finish this Ramadan and you notice that it's easy for you to direct your attention, then you could say you've gone through a successful Ramadan, because now you can just bring your attention on Allah effortlessly, and you'll see more benefit in that in your life. But if you still notice that these addictions that you have are still hard to overcome, any type of addiction, if it's still hard to overcome, then you've not gone through a successful Ramadan. But I'm telling you right now, all you do in Ramadan is just not do. That's all it is. It's not hard. It's so easy. It's just the undoing of everything that you've been doing all year. And that's why Ramadan comes in the best time. It's actually, I don't know, it's miraculous the way it just comes in the best time. But that's how fasting will be bringing your realities that you want a lot faster. Because now you know where to place your attention. And wherever you place your attention, the faster things will start happening in your life. So if this was helpful, just let me know, man.